everyone's welcome. That's kind of like my mantra, unless you're an absolute a-hole. And then I was going crazy, and there was no one to see it, but I was going so damn crazy and like screaming the house down. I was jumping around like a madman.
Well, anyway, welcome to Speed Trap, which is, for any listeners in the audience, a video podcast. You can watch our webcams if you'd like to do it that way. Thanks for coming on. You're Bydey. You're well known. I expect most people who listen to this to already know you. You're a very strong NMG runner. You've a little more recently gotten into Rando in a pretty big way. You've also run a lot of other games as well. Yeah, how would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think most people in Link to the Past community know who I am now. I've been around for at least 5 years now. Definitely not shy and talking. Yeah, so I guess I can start with my history of this game. So I was actually just checking my history before we got on the chat there, and I actually had a big gap that I didn't realize, which is quite funny. So I actually did my first Zelda run back in the 5th of December 2018, and it was
That was
as
GBA, right?
that was GBA. Yeah, the
Yeah.
first ever one I ran was GBA, and that was in 2018. And I actually didn't do my first NMG run until 2020.
Interesting. You were running Master Sword before, or do you
That's
mean Master Sword?
correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I did. No, that's my first NMG run. The first time I ran a Master Sword was in 2018. So I did Master Sword in December 2018, and I played for a bit, and then I just didn't play at all. Like the last
Interesting.
Master Sword one that I uploaded, yeah, it was between December 2018. I did Master Sword, and then I didn't do my first NMG run until February of 2020.
Wow. Yeah, you took like
Yeah.
about a year off.
So that's kind of an interesting gap. I didn't even realize I had that. I was just looking through all my obsolete runs there. So why I had that gap, I don't know. But I know I did play Master Sword for probably way too long.
Well, maybe.
But that's why probably I'm so good at Light World, and my Dark World always needs more work. So, because I
Um,
remember when I started in MG, my Light World was fantastic, and my Dark World
yeah, I
sucks
mean,
so
you
bad.
were getting
So,
like 134 PBs with like 126 level light worlds. It was very silly.
yeah,
I think your skill level is a lot closer now between the two, although still more of a light world specialist, I think.
yeah, I would agree with that. I had to put a lot of time into the Dark World. I mean, I was the one that started the whole Dark World NMG category and the category extensions. I wanted a way to play the Dark World that meant kind of more than just an RTA sort of thing. So that's kind of was the idea for the
Yeah.
leaderboard, was when I was going for my 124, 125, and I think I played it for like 6 or 7 weeks straight. That's all I did was Dark World NMG, and I got my time down from like a 58 down to like a 55.
Right.
And I didn't go back to 124 and or 125 until I did that, and I saw, it was instantly PB. Like
Yeah,
it
of
was,
course, yeah.
so um, I did put a lot of work into that. But yeah, so I mean, I've been here for about 4 to 5 years. I've always been involved in the community. I have had lots of breaks
Yeah.
in there. I did take a 1 year break actually after I got my 124. I took almost a year off, and didn't play the game much at all, to be honest. Just did some other things, and then came back again, big time to try and improve the PB. So
So I do want to talk about that stuff mostly, but I am interested to start out with what caused you to start trying speedrunning. Like, what brought you to either to speedrunning in general or to specifically the GBA run that was your first run? Do you remember what inspired you to give it a shot?
uh, I do, definitely. So the very first speedruns that I was aware of was on YouTube, and they were GoldenEye speedruns of all things.
Mm,
Now, GoldenEye was a game that I loved, and it kind of fits well with my, kind of hardcore um, small runs, couple of minute runs, reset heavy runs. Like I've always
yeah.
kind of been interested in those kind of runs, like the absolute strive for perfection, that kind of thing. So GoldenEye runs. I used to watch, I think, Carl Jobs back in the day before he took off and exploded, and some other people in that had YouTube content back then. I didn't know Twitch existed. I didn't even know Twitch existed
What
until.
time period is this?
So this would have been 2017.
Okay, so not long before you
So
actually
not
started.
not long before, yeah. I kind of had always known there was people trying this stuff, but I didn't really know there was SRC, and I didn't know there was speedrunning, and I didn't know it was getting as big as it
Right,
was.
right.
So started with GoldenEye, and then I did see some Super Mario runs, and then I kind of went searching to see if they had Super Mario Kart of all things.
Hmm.
That was the first one that I looked at, and lo and behold, Super Mario have a crazy community. It is
Super Mario
absolutely
Kart, you mean?
massive. Super Mario Kart, yeah, for the Super
Yeah.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
It's not big on SRC, but there's a guy who hosts his website for times, and there's got to be like 2,000 runners on there. It's absolutely insane. So, like, I reached out to this guy, and this guy was like super helpful. He's like, "Oh, this is it," and he sent me about 5,000 things, and I was like, "Oh, this is really cool, right?" So, my first ever speed run was Mario Kart,
Wow.
and I did all of the courses. There's time trial attacks for all of the courses, and there is actually an SRC category, but they're not very well run. Everyone's into the IL courses. So I actually went ahead and started submitting times to it, and it was the jankiest stuff you've ever seen. I had my TV, right, that had about 100 milliseconds of input delay
Mm.
with my Super Nintendo, and then I had a tablet that was up close to the TV that had some form of a clock on it. It
Yeah,
wasn't live
yeah.
split, and then I had a camera on like a chair, like shooting the TV
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
worst audio. It was just like so like janky.
That's funny.
And if you ever go back and you look at my first GBA submissions, it's still like that. I left them up there. It's quite funny.
It's like
So
your phone shooting your
yep,
hands or something.
phone shooting. Yeah, my phone is shooting. I'm sitting in front with my hands, and
That's great.
there's the TV, and you'll see my finger coming forward, and I'm physically hitting my tablet to do the splits.
Yeah, that's great.
So that was my introduction to that, and then I always knew I wanted to do like as soon as I started doing the Super Mario and I started doing a little bit of research, A Link to the Past was my next speedrun guaranteed. There was just no say about it. I've been playing this game since I was about 5. You know, I actually found a picture of me when I was 4 years old playing this game
Oh yeah.
way back then that my mum showed me. So I mean, I've been playing this since I was 4. I mean, I've probably casualed this game well over 10 times.
Yeah, similar
And
story for
yeah,
me.
so I knew it had to be that, and I found out that there was a decent community. You know, I think I didn't know about Discord when I was doing the Mario thing, and then shortly after A Link to the Past, I found out about Discord, and I got on the. And I think if you ever go back on the history, you'll see like the excited I don't know, excited noob person who's all excited to get their first like runs, and I was,
Yeah.
you know, probably being annoying by posting like 6 or 7 PBs every every half an hour I was getting. Because I was wanted to beat the GBA world record. That's I just kind of wanted this sort of, oh, I want to try and get a world record,
Yeah.
and the GBA was something that I saw. Someone told me that stair clipping was the fastest way on that, and that's how I'd learned. I didn't know the clipping and stuff, but GBA at the time, that was the fastest method. So I did grind GBA for quite a while, about a week or two, and I got the world record in it doing the stair clip method.
Nice.
So at that time, I was pretty pumped. And then I think someone came along. I think a blank came
I
along
think it was
about a
blank,
week
yeah.
later and found
He
the
did the
quadrant
quadrant
glitch,
glitch,
and
right? Yeah,
yeah, and just
yeah,
destroyed me by like seven
yeah.
seconds. Well, which is cool. So that was kind of fun. I got talking to them and talking about the glitches, and that's kind of my first introduction. And then I took that stair clip method over to the
Yeah.
SNES version, and I think I have the first or second fastest stair clip time on any. I haven't ever ran it
Oh yeah,
after that.
probably.
I left it up there because it was my
Sure.
stair clips were ridiculous for no reason, right?
Yeah, it's not that fast of a route on this version,
No,
but it's cool to do it. Yeah,
yeah,
it helped
and
you
then
with your Landmo RTA runs back when that
oh
was the
yes,
optimal Landmo RTA route.
yeah, that was when I started doing that not long after because someone told me you should do this Lamo RT character
Probably FSG.
category, and yeah, something like that. So I started doing that, and I think I got close to second place. I couldn't beat FSG, obviously. Like
Yeah,
he's a god at that stuff.
he's
So at
crazy.
the time, yeah. So And then after that, I got onto Master Sword, and I found Twitch not long after. And I'm pretty sure you know this, but you were the first person I ever watched on Twitch.
You've mentioned that, yeah. Crazy.
So you were the first person I watched, and got talking to you in some of your community, and somewhat started following people on Twitch and stuff like that. And then not well, I guess it was quite a bit after that, judging by my SRC there, but um I had a gap, I know, between my Master Sword, but I got my Master Sword right down to like a almost a 21 time. I had a 22 like 10, I think, before I even touched NMG.
Yeah, wow.
Right. So
That's ridiculous,
so
yeah.
yeah, it's like so silly. Like, don't ever do that, anyone. Just so my execution for the light world was really really good, and I honed all of the skills that I needed to hone to be good at the dark world and to be good at full NMG runs. So I finally made the transition over, and I learned to run. And I think my first run was a 146, and that was way back in
That's
February
funny.
25th, 2020. 146.03.
What was your light world time in that run?
Oh, well, I guess I can
Like
see
a
it when I click on it.
3810 or something.
Yeah. My light world have the splits on it. Here, let's see if I'm bringing it up here. You know what happened? I actually nuked my Twitch by accident not
Yeah.
long ago, so I lost a lot of my runs. But yeah, it was probably ridiculous, and everyone was probably telling me for a long time I got to stop being a light world hero and stuff like that. So, yeah, so that was kind of my introduction to NMG, and then still here 4 or 5 years later, still enjoying it more than ever. Have a little bit of a different mentality towards the game now than I did back then.
Yeah, how so?
I think you know. I think back then it was one of my first actual speed runs. Super Mario Kart wasn't really a technical speed run; it was more just racing a track. So NMG and learning the whole game was the first time that I was introduced to doing tricks and like doing slight buffers and doing
Hmm.
things like that. And I took some breaks from A Link to the Past at some point, and I played a whole host of other games. And I found that when I came back to playing the game, it was just easier because I'd learned so much other stuff in other games. I think that that's something that translates over to other games more than I used to think. That I can fire up a SNES game and I could probably spend a week learning it and get a very good, decent time because I've got 5 years of experience speedrunning.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have someone that's their first time ever speedrunning anything, it's just a whole different concept. Like the concept of doing a pause buffer is new to you. The concept of doing a pixel perfect trick is new to you. When you already know how to do them, you know what to look for in another game, and it just
Yeah.
makes it easier. So,
There's
I
a lot
went
of that
from
stuff. There's a lot of other stuff too, I think. I mean, your literal fine motor control gets a lot better for one thing. Um, and I think you like learn how to practice, and that helps you really improve at other things a lot faster.
yeah. And I also think that back when I first started, I probably was resetting a little bit too much. Obviously, people know me. I love to reset. It's I'm always going to be a resetter. Once a resetter, always a resetter. But I think looking back, I definitely didn't need to reset as much as I was, and it took me a while to learn that. And I still reset lots now, but I reset with a purpose. And there's a lot of people that are very kind of anti-reset players, and for various reasons, and I'm totally the opposite. I love to reset. I reset to try and get a good run. I care more about the PB when I'm running more than I do about actually completing runs, so to speak. It's always my main goal when I'm speed running. So I changed my mantra and to give myself kind of a PB allowance or a run allowance. So anyone that knows me knows I don't run with PB splits. I will never run against PB splits. The minute that I PB, I make target splits, and those target splits are basically to let me know when I should be resetting and when I shouldn't, and
Hmm.
because of the goals that I want to hit. And I think a lot of people don't actually realize that when they, maybe watch me, or they just think, oh, this just resets all the time. Well, it's actually not. There's actually a method to my madness.
You've
It's kind
always
of.
You've always been a lot of a resetter, and I think that you've said that it's um I don't know, like running when you're not ahead feels wrong or not fun or something, like demotivating. Is that right? Something like that?
100%. Um, I live for the pace. I live for the pace, and if I'm not on the pace, it doesn't feel like speed running to me. I know people can have their opinions on that, but to me, it just doesn't feel the same. Like I want to be going into Thieves Town on pace with a chance to PB. I want every run to be on PB pace. And when I reset, sometimes it's one or two resets, sometimes it's five or six resets. But every time I stream, I get on a run that's on pace.
Sure.
And again, that's where those target splits really come into play because they tell me when a reset is good or not. Because sometimes you have a great run and then you have a 4 cycle ammo and you're like, but I'm like, you know what? I had a 549 escape and I had a 53 Eastern and I got a really good torch time. This run is actually quite good, even
Yeah.
with a 4 cycle. And then there'll be sometimes you have a terrible run, but it's still okay. And then you get a 2 cycle and it's manageable or a 3 cycle. So uh, those split times are literally there to let me know when a reset is actually a valid reset and when it's not. And I really stick to those split times like glue now. That's kind of the mantra. And again, it's more of that, like, for me, as soon as the run becomes dead, I don't play the same, right? I don't feel, for me personally, that getting a gold on a dead run is feels good to me. Like, okay, I like to get a gold, but I want to get that GT gold when it matters.
I
The
mean, that's
last time I
fair,
got a,
yeah.
you know, and
To some
all of my
extent,
golds.
golds on
Go
dead
ahead, sorry
runs
again.
are there's like I mean a gold on pace obviously means more than a gold on a dead run,
Yeah.
but
So
yeah.
again, it's just a total personal thing. It's not to take away from what anyone else does or the way that they play or saying that golds on dead runs is a bad thing at all. Of course, it's not. It shows improvement, and I also always agree with the other side that you can definitely improve all the time, and for some people that's playing lots and lots of runs to build up consistency. And it's just the way that I've always kind of played. I play to have fun, and when I'm playing dead runs, I just don't enjoy it. I just feel, oh, I just don't want to play. So I'd rather just hit
Yeah.
that reset button and go and play when it matters. So
I think that you know yourself well enough, and now you know the game well enough that that all makes a lot of sense. I see a lot of people, not as much so nowadays, but it used to be the case that you would see people who, they watch top speedrunners, and top speedrunners reset a lot, and so they would reset a lot, and it would be not fun for them at all, because they're just like kind of copying that and doing that in sort of an imitative way, and that's why a few years when I got into well, when I started actually doing Link to the Past speedruns myself, there was, I think, actually far too much community sentiment against resetting. But there was a lot of it, and I think it was a pushback. It's a pendulum, right? At one point, people were resetting too much, and it was like everyone would start speed running, and they would have 138s, and they would be resetting, 559 escapes, and it's you're not having fun, man. You don't need to do this, and you're not having fun. But like your way of handling it, like obviously works for you, and I think makes a lot of sense. But it hurts. I've seen people go through the grind where they like are going for a sub 90 and they like reset 4 blue balls, and I'm like, your run really is not dead. And I think that's the difference between you and a lot of resetters is that like you have a much better conception of when your run is dead. Like you've done all this work, you've figured out the target splits and stuff, and I think that I would hate it doing it your way, but I think it makes sense.
yeah,
I think it makes
and
sense
I
for you.
mean, I would never. I never like would say to anyone to do it like me either. Like I do a lot of teaching and coaching and all aspects of this game now, and I deal with a lot of different people, and it's always what works best for that person.
Yeah,
Like I, as a person who resets heavily, I will tell someone they need to finish more runs because they need late game consistency.
right.
Or I'll tell them they need to practice. So like if you're going to be a reset heavy person like me, you have to put the time in on the practice hack. And I do. I'll put 8, 10 hours in the practice hack before I start runs.
Yeah,
Not everyone's going to do that. Probably most people aren't going to do that. So when I'm going into GT, I've already done 4 hours of it already before I'm starting runs. So if you're not willing to do that kind of segment practice in the late game and
Yeah.
Ganon and all that sort of stuff, then you shouldn't be resetting because you're not getting the practice that I'm getting. And a lot of people might not see that sometimes when they watch someone like me who, might do 7 escapes back to back in a couple hours. Like I just don't care. I enjoy Escape and Eastern are 2 of my favorite splits, so I don't mind hitting the reset button because it's fun, and for most people don't like it, so I understand
Yeah.
if you don't like resetting, don't reset. But also don't be pushed the other way into thinking that you have to finish runs because resetting is bad. It's not. If you wanna reset, reset. Like, you gotta find what works from you. I've seen it both ways where people, you know, have thought that they shouldn't reset and they push themselves through dead runs and they're just totally like, "Oh, this is terrible." Like, don't do that. And I've also seen it the other way where someone who's reset heavy is, "I'm going to do 10 no resets," and then like they quit the game afterwards because it was just so terrible. Like, you got to do what's fun and what works for you. There's
Yeah.
no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
In this community, we've got top runners who are reset crazy people, and we've got top people who never reset. So both methods work. You just have to work find what works for you. And I always tell people that make sure you're having fun and make sure you're motivated to play the game, because playing the game consistently over a long period of time is the only way you're going to get to where you need to be.
Yeah. It takes a lot of time, a lot of investment of time and energy and practice and runs and stuff. But I mean, of course, that also depends on someone's goals. A lot of people don't really have the kind of like you and I, of course, both have pretty aggressive goals in this game historically. A lot of people have no interest in getting a 124 ever,
Yeah,
so they don't
totally.
need to practice. They don't need to do 4 hours of GT if that's not something they care about. But
Yeah,
you know,
100%. And
yeah,
I've found that now with coaching people who are 132 and 138 runners, and I think it's actually helped me to be very um, kind of good at teaching all sort of different levels. Like I did a review for someone recently where they're a 138 runner, and I said in my review, we're not touching any strats and we're not touching any boss fights. All we're going to do is we're going to click on the rooms that you need the basic movement, and that's what we're going to fix
right, yeah.
because that's what you need to fix.
Just hold
It's not
diagonal, please.
yeah, just hold diagonal, just dash here. Like and
Yeah,
and like we went through and there was probably 100 screens where that was an issue.
just
Like
never gotten
fix
around
those
to learning
things.
the lines.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's what they need, like they don't need like a huge tutorial that's going to get them to 124. They just need a tutorial where it's just follow the basic dash lines or know which rooms to practice.
yeah,
And then you get into kind of the sub 90 runners, then you want to start, kind of optimizing some of the boss fights and the strats and going over a bit of that stuff. And then again, you get down to 125 on the 26th level. Well, that's where you really got to start up on your game. Like it's still movement's always the best thing, but eventually there comes a time where you have to sort of start upgrading your strats, or it's going to be tough to get that time, further down
for
where you
sure.
want to.
So you've taken some breaks. Some of those breaks have been just like life stuff. Like right now, you're not super active because of various personal life projects, as I understand it. But you've also taken breaks to play quite a number of different games. Do you have any thoughts about any of those? Any special favorites? Anything cool you
Yeah,
learned or anything?
I've mostly played shorter categories of games. That's my style, the reset heavy stuff. So,
Yeah.
like GoldenEye, I played that. That's a resetter's game.
Were you
I
doing
did.
ILs in that or full games?
I was doing IELTS.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't ever do a full game speedrun, but IELTS is kind of the main thing, and it was like grinding the same 30-second level over and over again for like 2 days, which I know is not a lot of people's idea of fun, but to me that's just a blast.
Yeah.
Just every single frame matters. Like you think frame matters in these games, trust me, they don't. Frames matters in those games. Like 1 or 2 frames, that's a huge time save in that game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can go through a few of the different ones that I've done. So,
I mean, we don't have to go through
um,
the list or anything. I was just wondering if
sure.
you had any highlights, anything.
Any highlights? I guess so. I kind of did some world record attacks on a couple of different games. One of them being Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, I was doing a marathon for a GDQ hotfix or something like that, and the person on before me was Mortal Kombat, and it was boring. Terrible speed run. It really is. Everyone's welcome. That's kind of like my mantra unless you're an absolute a-hole, and then it's the worst speed run for excitement. You basically just sit down, you just go tap, 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 and you knock them out, and that's
Oh
the whole
god.
speed run. Now, there is little bits of intricate things once you start learning the speed run, but for the most part, that category is like, I was like laughing watching it, and I feel bad, but it's the truth. That's what I felt, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to break this world record just for fun. And I did. I learned the game and I learned the category, and then I eventually went on a tear and I took all of the world records. I think I have one, two, three. I have like 7 world records in that game now. And I just went on a tear through it. And I did the same thing with Championship Pool.
Yeah.
I played that for a period of around 3 to 4 months, and I took like 9 world records over like 4 different consoles. So those 2 games were fun, and they were actually a lot tougher than I thought they were going to be. Most of them like minute to 3 minute categories. I'm going to say that my greatest achievement, probably out with A Link to the Past, was taking the Star Fox world record.
Yeah.
For anyone that doesn't know, Jake the Snake is an absolute Star Fox legend. He held all of the world records in that game. I think he had 20 world records, and no one had beaten him for like 6 years or something
Wow, I didn't
crazy
know it
like
was that
that.
extreme.
Oh yeah, he's just like miles ahead of everyone else. And I always made a promise to him. I said, one day I'm going to take your level 1 warps world record. I said, I promise. When I mean a promise, I mean I promise. But I said when the time's right. And it was about 3 or 4 years later that I eventually said, okay, the time is now. And I went on an absolute madman. It was 6 months of nothing but Star Fox grinding every single day. And I eventually got the world record. And it was I put so much work into that game. Like I played it as hard as I did my 124 grind, and I actually took 2 world records in one run. So it
Wow.
was
Wait,
kind of
what?
very
So it was any
special.
level 1 warps? What's the other one?
The other one was level 1 warps 100%.
Oh,
So I actually
interesting.
got the world record on warps, level 1 warps, and then I was grinding the 100% carry because it's a slightly different run, and
Right.
I got an absolute god run on the 100% that cut my original world
Wow,
record.
that's crazy.
It was ridiculous. So he's now trying to cut that record back because he took my no, he actually took them both back as of last week. He cut me back again. Finally, he's been grinding the game. He's now going for blindfolded, the first ever blindfolded run.
Oh,
So
sick.
I'll go back to it at some point. But that was kind of like my highlight of any other game that I've ran in terms of being at the top level. But other than that, I think really all the other games are just sort of Minecraft's another game that I played that is I'm never going to be a top runner in that game, but it's a lot of fun and it really surprised me. It was the first game that I ever learned mouse and keyboard for. I'm not a mouse and keyboard player,
Oh,
but
really?
I can yeah, I'd never played mouse and keyboard before, so I had to learn mouse and keyboard for that speed run.
What about Borderlands?
Borderlands, I learned that too. I actually played Minecraft before I did
Oh,
Borderlands.
really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I played that Borderlands and then went back to Minecraft again. So I hadn't ever touched mouse and keyboard really until I played those games, and now I can play mouse and keyboard games no problem.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, those are probably the standard games for those. And I do have a bunch of like other world records on my page from all these like silly games like Ultraman and Frogger
Yeah,
and all
you've
these
picked
like
up a number of like tiny, like low, like runs that haven't had a lot, or games that haven't had a ton of attention and stolen some world records.
I kind of like those kind of games too because they're unoptimized a lot of the times. You
Yeah.
go there, there's only 3 or 4 runs, and it's like you start finding new strats, and so that's kind of why I like those games. I don't really care if there's 10 or 20 or 100 people running them. I just run it because it's fun, and that's why I speed run, you know. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So what? So speaking of Borderlands, actually, you've had a couple of runs in marathons. Do you have any other like specific, notable, standout events or any special moments for you?
in terms of marathon events,
Well, just like I mean, anything really, any sort of big
anything.
moment.
I'm going to say the biggest moment as a streamer because I mean I don't stream to be big and famous. I'm
Right.
not like that. That's not why I stream. I stream for fun. If 5 people watch me or 50 people watch me, I don't really care. That's not why I'm here. But I'm going to say that the biggest stream that I ever did where, I didn't get a 150 raid from Zeln or something silly like that. A biggest stream that I ever did when I turned it on and about 50 or 60 people showed up was my treadmill NMG run that I did the very
Oh yeah.
first time. Like everybody came out for that. Like
That's funny.
everyone that I know was on that stream. It was for anyone that doesn't know, I basically I'm a huge fan of running. Not so much these days, but I used to be into like, doing 50K runs and ultra running and a triathlon for years. So I was a big fitness nutcase and I was also a big gaming nutcase. I know they don't always seem to go together, but in my life they do. So I decided to combine the two and was going to see, can I run NMG while running on a treadmill? And not just, walking, like properly running, like running, the same pace I'd run a half marathon. I was trying to do that whilst running NMG. And at first I wanted to see if it was possible. And then after a little bit of tinkering around, I realized it was, although be very difficult. And then I decided to train and start training, and I started doing the practice hack when I was on the treadmill. And then I announced that I was going to do a full NMG run on the treadmill. And a ton of people came out for it, and everyone just loved it. It was hype. It was probably one of my most memorable moments. Doing a single stream was that stream. And I did 2 or 3 of those, and
Yeah,
I
I was gonna say you
eventually
did it again, right? Yeah.
yeah, I did it again. I did 2 or 3 or 4 runs of those, and I finally got my treadmill time down to 127, which is quite respectable
Pretty good.
for running around 13 kilometers. Plus, I had a reset in pod. So I got to pod and I died, and then I reset and did it again.
Did you take a break or
So
did you keep running through the
nope, I
reset?
just kept on going. Yeah, I just reset and just kept going. I didn't take a break. I think it ran like 7 clicks. So by the time I'd
Yeah,
done, I'd pretty much done 20 clicks.
that's crazy.
So, which is, it sounds crazy, but I mean, I'm used to doing, 30K runs anyway, so it wasn't
Really?
really too
Wow.
bad. But yeah, I would like to at some point. I've kind of gone away from running for the last couple of years, but I'm kind of waiting for that event that accepts it. I have actually applied. I applied to do it for GDQ online because I thought
Mm-hmm.
that would be kind
Mm-hmm.
of a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
Or if one of the bigger marathons, I always apply to do that run because I think it's really unique and you don't really see it. And it's not like someone's, playing a treadmill and their gameplay is terrible. Like we're talking like top 50 gameplay whilst running on a treadmill. I
Right,
just
right.
think it's my goal is to eventually get a 125 on the treadmill. So at some
Oh
point.
boy.
That was kind of a really unique run that I did. And I think another one we did a co-op NMG run. Me and Fricker did a co-op, and I think we got the world record on stream on Link to the
Nice.
Cure, I think, or something like that. Or maybe it was GDQ Hotfix. It was a fairly big event, and we got the world record at the time, which we've crushed it now. But now it's everyone else is playing it. So like
Yeah.
we've stopped playing it, and everyone else is playing it. It's fantastic, and I think the times come down. There's new routes. There's new time saves. I think the time's been cut by a couple of minutes now.
It's
So
a high
eventually,
51 now.
yeah, that's
So
I'm so glad to see that. Like we
yeah.
were playing that when no one else was playing it. Like we did all the routing. We spent weeks and weeks
I
routing, and
remember.
so it's nice to finally see it getting the action that I thought it would have gotten when it got ported to console. So
Yeah. Yeah, it is cool. It's fun. Co-op is really fun. It's hard to like coordinate and find people and be on the same page or whatever, but it's a very fun run. I've never done co-op NMG, but I've done other co-op stuff.
yeah, for
Definitely a
sure.
good time. Um, okay, that's cool. Uh, do you have any current goals for mostly mean Link to the Past, but any other speedrunning stuff or really real life stuff if you want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm currently building a new house right now,
That's sick.
so it's pretty a big project. I got some land a couple of years ago, that I bought from some family, and we're literally in the phase one of it right now. Putting the basement in and all that sort of stuff. So
Damn, that's awesome.
I'm actually the project manager for the site. So it's been a big undertaking, and that's kind of why I'm tied up a lot IRL at the moment. Um, so that's been a really cool learning experience. Just learning all about how houses are built and
Yeah.
blueprints and all like. So it's taken up a lot of my time, but I'm surrounded by a lot of good people that are working on the project. The main builder is a friend of mine. So it's not like a business relationship; it's more like a friendship, sort of thing. So it has allowed me some free time to still play. I love gaming. I always make time for gaming.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a big person that you never give up your life for something. You always make time for the things that are special. You know, I get to see my kids a lot because my kids are homeschooled.
Oh, I didn't know
We've
that.
been homeschooling our kids for 2 or 3 years, so I get to see my kids all the time.
That's
You know, I
great.
come home from lunch, I see them every day. So it does allow me maybe a little bit more time, to play games than other people do because they maybe spend a little bit more time with their family at night or whatever like that. But we have such a great relationship, like with my wife and my kids, and we're very understanding of our hobbies and things. So it's always been a big support, from my family, and my kids love gaming too, and we game together, and
Yeah. I
so
know your Discord status is always playing Roblox.
yeah, so that's kind of a game that me and my kids play. They're not really into like my girl who actually does have a time on the leaderboard
I know. Yeah.
for major glitches. We taught her, or I
That
taught
was
her
when
that when
she
she
was
was
like 4,
4.
right?
Yep, when she was
Yeah.
4, she had a 3.5 minute time on there, or a 4 minute time or something. So she actually improved it 2 or 3 months ago, and
Ooh,
she beat it 2 times. So I think she has a 320 now or something
nice.
like that.
GG's.
So she's not really into that. Neither's my boy. They like the Roblox and the Minecraft stuff. So when you see me playing Roblox, I'm usually just farming. We play these farming games where you can. I've actually taught them how to like mod their keyboards to farm the games and
Oh
stuff like
god.
that. So I've got like keyboards,
Macros set up or
macros, yeah,
whatever. Yeah,
macros set up
yeah,
that they keep their game running while we go to sleep and stuff like.
yeah.
I'm teaching them farming at a young age, so.
Oh, good,
So
good.
when you see my Roblox on, that's usually what it is. I usually just have it on the side
Yeah,
monitor, just running while I'm doing other stuff.
it's great.
But in terms of gaming goals, speedrunning goals, 123 is kind of on the back burner for now. I've never ever announced that I'm going for that. It was never my goal when I got back to playing. Um, I did do a big kind of grind to get a PB, and I said when I get a PB, if it's 10 to 20 seconds, I'll take a break. 'Cause I always do that
Yeah,
when I
yeah,
get a PB. I got a one, I can't remember what it was, a 2X or something like that. And I know how much time it takes that you have to dedicate to playing to get a 123 or to get to that level. You need to be playing consistently. You need to be doing tons of runs, tons of practice over and over and over for 2 or 3 months. And I just don't have that time right now.
yeah. Totally
So
fair.
I'm not willing to dedicate that time to NMG until I'm 100%, can dedicate the time, which will be sometime probably next year. So that's why I switched away to Rando just now. So my Rando's easy. I don't really need to practice too much. I just can fire up a seed and play as a couple
Yeah.
hours here and there, and then I can go to bed or whatever it needs be. So that's why I made the switch away from NMG once I got my PB. Because the house build basically started not long after that. And the Casboots tourneys, I love it. It's always my favorite
You're
tourney.
still in that?
I'm still in it, yeah.
Nice.
I'm probably gonna make next round. I think I'm in a 3 group bracket, and I won my first 3 matches. So
That's still
probably get it.
in group stages then?
Yeah, still in group
Okay.
stages. So I think with her, I don't think there's any way I can go out now because the other guy beat the guy that I beat 3 times once. So I think I'm guaranteed to make to
Nice.
the brackets.
Who's
So.
your group?
Dr. Bowser is one, and Centurion is my other person.
I don't know either name, but
I think Centurion's fairly newer to the community, and Dr. Bowser's been playing probably a good 3 or 4 years. We've played on ladder, and we've probably played 6 matches, and we've won 3, lost 3, that sort of thing.
yeah,
So
sure, sure.
the next 3 matches are against him, and I don't think it really matters if I win or lose. So they're just going to be pretty chill for that. And then I joined the mentor tourney as a mentor.
Oh, cool.
So that was how I got into Rando in the first place, was the
Yeah.
mentor tourney. It was the greatest tournament I've ever been a part of by a mile.
Well,
I
you're
love
just
the
saying that because you
format.
won.
Yeah. I mean, I just love the mentor tourney. I really, really do. It kind of like is a big part of what I do now with my community, my Discord is very much what the mentor tourney does, but kind of hopefully now it's going to be all year long. Um, so I wanted to give time back to that tourney, and we're actually going to be
Cool.
doing a Q&A next week. It's going to be a Q&A practice session with me on their Go Mode podcast. So that's going to be pretty cool. And then I have all my mentees lined up already for all 6 weeks. So I'm pretty
Wow.
full up with that. Yeah, I got reached out to by a lot of people. So I'll be busy with them over the next few weeks, and then I have the Cas Boots tourney on the side. So that's kind of my main focus at the moment is just sort of doing that and helping people and just working on my Discord, which I've been putting a lot of work into in the last month or so, month or
Yeah.
two.
Yeah, you want to talk about that for anyone who doesn't know?
Sure. So, I mean, I've always had my Discord. Like it's kind of a Discord I made when I started. I used to sit there, dead for like 2 years, and then I really put a lot of work into it. Probably a couple of years back, where I, just started, inviting people to the Discord, and slowly over time, it became kind of a. I tried to make it kind of a learning center for newer people and newer people to the community. And basically, in the last 2 or 3 months, I basically changed it away from being my server. It used to be like Bydey's server, and now it's the ALTTP Nerd Center. And the goal of my Discord is to just kind of have a place for new people to come, both from Rando and NMG. I'm trying to combine both communities because sometimes, we get people from Rando, oh, NMG, that's boring and nobody, that's work and all that. And then you get people from NMG, oh, Rando, look, Rando people are taking all our viewers away. And, it's all this kind of, and it doesn't have to be like that. I love Rando, I love speedrunning. So my Discord is really trying to bring everyone together. Like I've combined my NMG channel with vanilla preset channel. So you have people that are running vanilla preset in the same channels as people who are running NMG, and we're
Sure.
kind of getting those people conversations, and so it might bring some to NMG and it might bring some to Rando. And we have a VOD review channel for new people if they want a VOD review on a seed, or we have a kind of a seed posting channel so people can put in their seeds and people can run it. And it's really taken off in the last month or so. Like it's been fantastic. We've had an influx of, I don't know, 25 people in the last while, and it's really been doing great. So I'm really hoping to take it further. And I always tell people, like go to sort of the main pages. I would never, I'm not trying to, take it away from the main Discord or anything like that. Like I always, tell people to go there. But I think sometimes people get a little bit intimidated going into a 6,000 person server and asking a bunch of questions. So that's kind of sometimes like, just another place that people can come and learn. But I mean, anything is happening. If we find any big finds, it's always getting posted in the main Discord server because it's where it belongs, in my opinion. So.
Main Discord servers are pretty dead, honestly. I haven't been in the main Rando Discord for a while, but the vanilla speedrunning Discord is not super active.
Yeah, and I mean, I always kind of find that kind of sad because like we have quite a big community, and yeah, I guess I think just a lot of people in our community have their own circles. I think that they have their own sort of spaces and stuff, and that's fine too. And that was again one of the reasons I really wanted to promote the community to new players because I wanted them to have a place where they can ask 20 questions, and feel okay about it. Sometimes I've had experiences going into other big servers and asking questions, and people are like, oh, like that it can feel like that sometimes. So, definitely anyone that's new, who are brand new to the game or they're just started speedrunning, I get a lot of people coming into the server, and like they're very very chatty, and that's kind of like the idea of my server is just to give them a place to ask those questions or to get VOD reviews or to get feedback from people. And another thing that we do is live coaching sessions. I believe that live coaching sessions are just more beneficial than simply watching a tutorial or watching this person, etc. So I try to do those once every month or so. Usually Ganon. We're doing a Ganon one actually on Sunday, 10 Eastern. It's going to be for the mentees basically. And we do other sort of stuff like I've made a new analysis sheet that I shared with you earlier on. It's kind of an NMG cheat sheet. So I found that, sometimes doing VOD reviews and stuff, it takes a long time. It can take 2, 3, 4 hours even sometimes for an
Sure.
NMG review. So I wanted a way that someone doing a live run who's like, hey, can you just give me a little bit of feedback on this run I'm about to do? So I made this sheet. It's just basically a check mark sheet of every single screen in the game. It's split up into, Eastern and Desert and Hera. And it's just a simple tick box. And it means I can just be like, "Oh, hey, I'll give you some feedback." I can pull up the Twitch. I just pull up the sheet and I watch. And I'm like, "That's okay." And I look at the skill level. Okay, they're 138. Okay, we just need to look at the basics here. Okay, they just didn't do this dash line tick, didn't do this. And then at the end of the day, I save that sheet and their name and I send it to them like, "Hey, these are the rooms you need to look at." And it has, every single room, the boxes are ticked, and it's like, okay, here's the best thing to do. Just look up a run that's, 130 level and just look at what they're doing in these rooms and copy it. So I've actually done that with a couple of people so far, and I've had like such great feedback from it. My
That's
last
cool.
person who did a 130 review for them is working on it right now, and I think they cut their sub by a minute already. So like
Nice.
I feel like it's really working, and they haven't done anything at all. They haven't practiced any strats. They're just fixing the basics
Yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah.
game. So that was something cool that I put some work into. I kind of converted it actually from Moogle's 124 crazy spreadsheet. So I have to give a shout out to him for making the initial sheet, and I just kind of took a lot of that information and made it into an NMG analysis sheet. So
Do you think Moogle will ever get the 124?
I really hope so. Moogle's a good friend of mine. I
I hope so
actually
too. I mean,
fought.
he's definitely good enough. The question is, has he given up enough times?
I really couldn't see. I just think I think he cares about it, and I think he's probably the greatest 125 player who doesn't have a 124. I think we all know that. The guy is legendary.
Yeah.
He just I think he just felt burned out. I think he tried to come back recently, did a couple of months, and he put in so much practice and work, and it was just, you know what it's like. You're going for the 124, and you have to put up 25 dead runs before you might get one
Yeah,
that
yeah,
works, and
yeah,
then you got to get through GT and Ganon and hope you don't get
yeah.
a 5 cycle, right? So he is the biggest 124 potential runner that we have in our community, always has been, and just hasn't got the time. So I mean, it's to me, he's a 124 runner at heart. Like he just, I think he's going to prioritize some other things in his life, like, having fun and not being burned out, and I totally get that, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
he was just feeling burned out, and he's like, it's not worth it. Let's go do something else. So he was doing some other games and things like that. So I think in time, when the time comes and he's ready to come back to play, I think he'll come back and play. And I think at one point, I would put good money on it that he'll get a 124. I really do.
Yeah, he definitely could. I just like it. His last attempt at it didn't seem like he was having fun, and so I don't know if he feels like coming back to it or not. But whatever
Yeah,
works for him. He's
and that was
definitely
kind
got
of
the
like,
ability.
I think I can speak to that in terms of like, so I have this chart. I need to bring it up here. But basically, I have all my times tracked from the very first time that I got a 124
Hmm.
all the way to. So I started tracking 125s and 124s on a sheet. So the very first time I got a 125 was in 2021. So March 7th, 2021, I got a 125.46. It took me it took me 4 months from my 125. So March 7th to July 23rd. So that's March, April, May, June, July. So 4 months almost to the date. 4 months and a little bit to get from 125 to 124. And this was during the height of COVID. So I was playing a lot. So I think that's kind of a quick progression. And then July 23rd, 2021, again, was my first 124. And then the next 124 I got was February 23rd, 2023, 2 years later.
That's like 20 months or something. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah, it was a long time because I took a break. I basically, once I got my 124, I took exactly a year off. I didn't do another run until July of 2022. And I put up a bunch of 125s. Like I put up 125s in 2022, but I didn't really play too much. And then January of 2023 is when I came back. And
Yeah.
that's when I really started going on a tear. And yeah, like I did 124.49, 0 blue balls. And then I had my 124.41 with 4 blue balls, which was a really, really good run. That was March
Doesn't your
17th,
current PB have 4
2023.
blue balls?
No, I actually beat that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my current PB has I actually didn't have my current PB up here. I don't even know what my current PB is. That's bad. I think it's a 27 with I don't know how many blue balls it got. That's bad. But
I think you have the best 3 blue ball run on the board.
oh, maybe it is 3 blue balls.
Oh no, you have a 0 blue
No,
ball
no.
PB up here now.
Okay,
I
that's a
think you
zero blue
did
ball
for a
PB.
moment. Because I know
Yeah, I had
Fricker has had the best 3 blue ball time for a really long time. But I think you had
yeah
him cut for a minute.
yeah I had a 124.46 with 3 blue balls
Oh,
at one
of course
point.
I'm very obviously lying. Ari has the best 3 blue ball time.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
impossible
Yeah.
for me to remember that that run has 3 blue balls. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's
What the fuck?
disgusting. Guys on another level, man.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so I mean, I made a big change to the way that I played the game when I came back. So I actually, it's not that I got burned out. I wouldn't say that I ever got burned out going for my 124, but I definitely played a lot of the game and I wanted to do something else. I will never,
Right.
say that I shouldn't have done it the way that I did it because I did. That's how I did it, and I loved every minute of it. And one of the kind of things that I always think about now is, and that I know that I love speedrunning to the core against myself, is I actually got my 124 offline where no one was around.
Oh, really? I don't remember that.
Yep.
Wow.
So I didn't do too many offline runs, but the odd time I would just do a run because I was that committed. It didn't matter if the stream was working or not. I was doing a run, and I just fired up a random run offline, and I got the 124, and I was going crazy, and there was no one to see it, but I was going so damn crazy and like screaming the house down. I was jumping around like a madman, and I was so pumped for like a week afterwards, and no one got to see it. And I don't really care either. It doesn't matter. I mean, it'd be nice to see it,
Yeah.
but it was, I
That's
think a
sick.
couple of people were like bugging me. They're like, "Did you just splice a run? Like, just random offline run?" I was always kind of like took that as kind of a funny thing. I'm like, kind of like a little bit dodgy. Like I'm streaming for 4 months and doing all these field attempts, and I just do an offline run and I get like this 51. So that was kind of always a chuckling thing. But I knew it wasn't going to be my only 124. So
Right.
when I took that break of a year, I actually found Rando. I think I can't remember when I started playing Rando, but Rando really reignited my love for the game. So I kind of have a lot of debt to Rando, I guess. So it kind of made me think about Link to the Past in a new light. I basically put NMG down, and whenever I started, whenever it was last year, I basically did nothing but Rando for about
Yeah.
6 months.
Yeah.
That's all I did, and it really just reignited my passion for the game because once you've got down to 124 level of NMG, you really have learned almost about everything you can learn. I mean, I know the strats that are there for the higher levels too. I do IL grinding, so I know what it takes to sort of be at that level, sort of. But like the learning very slows down, and it's more just about grinding the rooms or doing the runs and just getting better and better at what you already know. Whereas Rando, I knew nothing. It was completely new to me. I was this Ferrari driving around, not knowing where to go. Right,
Right.
was always
That's
the
funny.
it was always the way that I explained to people. So
Yeah.
when I joined the mentor journey, people were like, "Oh, that's not really fair. I don't think we should be able to." Like, there was always this kind of discussion, like, should an NMG runner of your skill level be allowed to play? And it was very quickly realized when I finished in the bottom third of the pack, for one of the seeds, that I really actually didn't know much at all about Rando, and it only takes you so far, right? So I was quickly realized that yeah, I had lots to learn, and even though I'm very good at execution, like Rando execution is going to help you, but routing is 10 times going to make it 10 times faster. So I put countless hours into Rando. I learned all of the tricks. I learned, I basically sat for like 50 hours and just learned every single trick in the game before I even did a seed. Because that's just the manic person that I am.
Yeah.
Like I didn't just run seed. I think I ran 3 seeds, and I think my first 3 times were like 245, 240. Like they were awful for casual boots or open.
That's
And then
funny.
I just took a break. I 50 hours, and I loaded up every single trick that you could ever do, every dark room, everything, and I learned them all before I even touched another seed again. And then all of a sudden, I got a sub 2 hour, and then I was getting a 140, then a 130, then I got a 120. So like my progression through Rando was much the same as it was NMG. My times just started plummeting, and I was doing lots of Z3s offline and just basically pounded Rando like I pounded NMG when I started it. So I have a lot of love for it because when I went back to NMG, I just enjoyed it so much more. I don't know why, but I just did. And now I have both of them there that, if I feel like going to play rando, can play rando. If I feel like doing an NMG run or even vanilla preset, I'm actually thinking about doing a vanilla preset run tonight because I haven't done one on fast ROM yet. My time is still from slow ROM, so I kind of people have been bugging me to do a run on it, so I might do one of those tonight. So it's kind of nice just having both sides of that. And again, it's 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 why I made my community the way it is. I want to try and bring the two communities together versus trying to split them apart because there's no reason that it has to be like that, you know?
Yeah. So you said you're not really playing NMG, but are you going to join League?
Oh yes, I've joined
Okay.
every league that I've ever
Yeah, you've been
been.
in them all, I think.
I've been in them all, and I always will.
Sweet.
Last season I was tried to make it as fun as possible for everyone. I'm sure you played me and you saw some of the stuff I was doing, so we can expect a little bit more of that. I think I've come up with two or three more really silly
Oh
things to
God.
do
All
at
right.
energy.
Something to look forward to.
But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of like the way that I've done NMG. Like I still don't get me wrong, I'm still taking it very seriously, but I just think it's fun to showcase just different things that people don't see. And when you put that on a
Yeah.
race stream, just it's people love it. Like people, oh, what? Like, what is he doing? Like, I didn't know you could do that. Just all of these like silly things or silly strats. I just love showing them off. And they really don't lose that much time. So I can still put up a 125 OX doing that silly stuff,
Sure.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Um, okay. One other question that I've been trying to remember to ask people. I feel like I can kind of guess the answer, but you put a bunch of time into Link to the Past in general, but also streaming. What was that time taken up with before you got into this hobby? Was it just other gaming time?
yeah, so I mean, at different parts of my life has been taken up with different things. I focus on one thing for a couple of years and then I change. So
Okay.
it's kind of
Yeah, that's fair.
not often that I stick with something long term, and I've stuck with streaming for quite a long time. But there's actually a period of my life where I didn't play games for well over 5 years.
Wow.
I didn't play a single game, which people find that mind boggling considering how much I love gaming. But yeah, I think from the age of like 20 or 19 to the ages of 24, I never touched one game.
Huh.
I was too busy doing other things, and I was into golf for a long time. I was into a triathlon for a long time, and I did traveling. I traveled the world for almost 4 years, so I didn't do any gaming during any of that time. But I have always loved gaming, and I will always play games. I've been playing games since I was young, and I think when I got back into gaming, my roommate who used to live with me for 4 years was a big gamer, and he moved in when I was probably around 24. So I was always sort of playing games before I started streaming. But I mean, obviously, having kids too, it takes up a lot more of your time than you used to.
Of
When
course,
you're
of course.
before that, you had so much more free time. So, um, yeah, it's basically it was taken up with probably either like running or triathlon or playing golf. I played golf for like 5 or 6 years pretty seriously, so that took up a lot of my time. I'd probably say golf was the biggest thing that I used to play that I don't play at
See,
all now.
interesting.
Yeah, it's just I much prefer. I always have one fitness thing that I'm doing. So if I'm not running, I'm cycling. If I'm not cycling, I'm swimming. Right now, I'm into powerlifting, so that's my fitness thing that I do. So I'm
Yeah.
always doing some fitness thing, and I'm always doing some gaming thing.
For
That's my
anyone
two
who's
main
watching without
hobbies.
video, Bydey looks great, by the way.
I actually have this that my daughter made for me.
It's
It's
a little Triforce necklace.
yeah, let her try it first. She made that for me. And I also have this t-shirt that was a Christmas present. It says www.thepast.hyrule.
So link to the past. Very good.
So I've got all my merch on today. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's just priorities have changed. And again, I love streaming. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I plan to be streaming when I move to my new house. I'm making a streaming space
Oh,
for
awesome.
me, and yeah, like a kind of a gaming space for me and my kids. So we love to game together. So we're gonna build like a space we can all sort of play together. So
That's great.
and I actually am planning to get into streaming fitness stuff in
Oh
my new
yeah.
place. I'm building a little small home gym. It's gonna have kind of a powerlifting rack in it, and I want to get into doing like powerlifting streams. So that's something I'm going to be trying out next year
All
when I get
right.
my place.
Cool. When's the house going to be done? Do you have a good idea?
I think summer of next year. So plan to be done by like June or July of next year,
Wow.
sort of moving in time, yeah. About a year from start to
A lot
finish.
of work. A lot
So
of time.
oh, it is the start bit's the easy bit, it's the mid bit, it's the tough bit.
Yeah. All right. Well, I do have a tier list for you, but do you have anything else you want to bring up before we get to that segment?
um Not really off the top of my head, just I hope that the community stays strong and like I think I'm always gonna be in a link to the past speedrunner no matter where I go. And like I said, the door is always open if you want help. Should hit me up or come and hit up our Discord and if you want a review or anything like that, like everyone's welcome. That's kind of like my mantra, unless you're an absolute a-hole, and then you might have to do something about it. But for the most part, like we like everyone. We've had one or two people that we've
Yeah.
had to over the last couple of months or so. But other than that, I think I've only had to kick two people in like 5 years, so I think we're doing pretty well.
That's not bad. I don't think I've kicked anyone from my Discord, but no, I don't have nearly as many people as you. All right, here we go. This is
Ooh,
hopefully every category that you've run of every game.
wow, that's a
It's
lot.
a lot, so we're gonna want to go through them quick. You can either get tired and stop doing it whenever you want, or we can just go through
Okay.
them quickly or whatever. But you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, we've got any percent glitchless dungeon order, Link to the Past.
That's a B tier.
Ooh, you created that category and it's only a B.
Mm-hmm.
All
Yep.
right. This is, which one is this? This is one-handed Link to the Past.
I'm gonna say it's a C category.
Yeah, that sounds about right. This is blindfolded any percent.
It's another C.
This is Armos RTA.
That's a C.
A lot of C's in here. This is Landmo RTA.
That is an A.
Okay, I was gonna say if that's another C, I'm gonna tell on you to FSG. All right, co-op.
That's an S tier.
S tier. All right. Dark World NMG.
That is S tier.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Main reason for that is I think if more people played it, they'd be better at full game runs. Like that's the whole point of it. If you grinded Dark World NMG for like 6 weeks and stopped playing full runs, I guarantee you your full NMG run time will just plummet. It is. I'm going to say that's almost a fact. That's why I think it's an S tier category for what it does for a player.
Gotcha. Low percent Oko.
Oh goodness. That is. There's I'm gonna say that's a C tier.
Okay. All right, this is Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Zombies. We've got a bunch of categories in here. The text on these isn't great. This is Town 2-player co-op Pack-a-Punch non-patched.
That's a C tier.
This is Town 2-player co-op Round 5 non-patched.
That's probably a B tier.
Why is that one so much better?
It's a better run.
Okay.
It's just a more engaging run than the first one. The first one's just an RNG grind.
This is Town, I guess, 3-player co-op?
Yeah, that's gonna go on C as well.
All right. And then Round 15 non-patched.
That's gonna be A tier.
Wow, okay, cool. Longer run?
Longer run. It's a bit more going on in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Pack-a-Punch non-patched again. I guess a different number of players.
That's a D tier.
Okay. All right, One Mind any percent NMG.
That's an A tier.
These are championship pool, Genesis 9-ball tournament.
9-ball tournament. That will be B tier.
Okay, this is 3-ball.
Genesis.
Yeah.
Another B tier.
Okay. GoldenEye 007, 00 Agent Controller Standard.
I'm gonna say that's probably C tier if it's a full run.
I think they are. I don't think I got any of your individual level ranks.
Yeah, so all the full runs are gonna be C tier because it's just not.
All right, we can
You
just
can put
drag
them all
those
in
in
C
now
tier
then. All the
because
GoldenEye
the
ones.
ILs are the main ones.
Yeah. All right, this is Championship Pool Genesis Speed Pool.
That's another B tier.
Oh,
But
not the greatest
B tier,
game.
yeah.
Okay.
No, it's mainly the console that it's played on. The Genesis is bleh.
Yeah,
So
that's
good,
fair.
but the SNES, the GBA version, is that the GBA?
This is GB, yeah.
Oh, that can go on D tier.
Oh,
Well, it's gross playing that one.
this is NES Speed Pool.
Again, yeah, D tier.
NES just all D tier.
Yep, they're D tiers. The consoles is rough.
All right, let's jump to this one. This is SNES Speed Pool.
SNES Speed Pool is A tier.
Ooh, wow. I watched you grind that game a little bit, and it did not look fun. We also have SNES 3 Ball.
SNES 3 Ball is S tier.
Wow, that's as good as co-op any percent NMG.
It actually is the most fun I had playing a game.
All right, what's SNES 9 Ball?
9 Ball will go in A tier.
Okay. All right, Borderlands 2 co-op restricted.
I'm gonna put that in B tier, I think.
Okay. Oh, here's another NES Championship Pool D tier, I assume.
Yep.
All right, Frogger for the SNES.
Frogger's probably B tier.
That's a sick game. I don't think I've ever seen a speedrun of it.
It's actually so hard.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah. All right, this is Kane of Burna. I didn't even know you ran this.
Kane of Burna, that is an A tier category.
Do you want to hear my crazy idea?
Yeah.
I think we can use like the Dark World save generator to do Dark World start runs of all the items like Cane of Burna and Mirror Shield and stuff like that.
Interesting. I like it. I always like new things.
Yeah. I want to do them all back to back. I don't want to do them. I want to watch someone else do them all back to back. All right, this is true major glitches. True 80%.
Oh, that's got to be like a C tier.
This is any percent no major glitches, the main category.
That's S tier.
Yeah. Ice Climbers 16 Mountains.
Oh goodness, that's C. It's almost D, but it's C. Because I won the tournament, so.
Oh, okay. Low percent. This is like 3 HP, true low percent.
3 HP, low percent is A tier for sure.
Wow. All right, we've got a lot of Mortal Kombat categories coming up.
Yep.
This is. Oh god, I did the font on these all bad. I was generating these earlier. No jump, something block.
No jump.
No jump and no block. Yeah.
No jump, no block is probably D tier.
This is just no block.
No block, D tier.
This is all characters.
All characters is actually fun. I'm gonna put that in the B tier.
Okay. SNES, no major exploits.
That's actually A tier for Mortal Kombat.
That's cool. This is Crash.
Oh, D. basically, the speedrun is make the game crash.
Yeah.
So bad.
Okay. No jump, single character.
That can be another D tier. It's kind of a pointless category.
All right, this one's just called SNES. I guess this is whatever the main category is.
Main category is, I think that's going to be C tier, unfortunately.
Not a great game, I guess. You did say that you started running it because of how boring it looked, so maybe you deserve this. This is Riptile, which I had to look up because I was curious about what that could mean.
Again, that's got to be D tier. This is silly.
SNES Standard.
SNES Standard is probably B tier.
Okay, Yeah, go ahead.
Donkey Kong Country. Which ones?
This is All Stages Modern.
All Stages Modern. I'm gonna give that run a B.
All right, and then the next one, of course, is All Stages Legacy.
Probably the same. It's B. They're both very similar runs.
All right, I have to zoom out here. Okay, 16 star.
That's gonna be S tier.
This is 16 star emulator. There's another one in here somewhere, which is 16 star, no LBLJ.
Yeah, those are all S tier runs.
All
They're
the
actually
16
all very
stars.
similar. Yeah, they're actually all the same run. One, it's just they allow you to put runs that have no LBLG on a category extension. So they're all basically 16-star runs, very
I see.
similar.
There's a
So
70 star
they're
in here as well, actually.
oh 70. No, that can go like that's a B tier run.
Ooh, brutal. Okay, this
70
is.
stars, but
All
too
right.
long.
Yeah. Low percent legacy.
Low percent legacy is an A tier run.
Cool.
If anyone out there is a rando player and you want to get better at fights, Master Sword fights specifically, go run Legacy Low. It's actually the greatest category for learning, in my opinion, for rando, for learning low equipment fighting.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, we've got Minecraft Bedrock co-op. Any percent,
Oh,
whatever.
that is S tier all day long. Such a fantastic run.
What about the non-co-op version of Minecraft Bedrock? Any percent
Non-co-op,
glitches?
that's going to be a B tier.
All right.
Yeah,
Master
Solo's not
Sword.
as fun as co-op.
Yeah, of course.
Master Sword, I know I love it, but it's going to be A tier. It's not good enough to be S tier, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Star Fox. Got a
Mhm.
few of these in here. This is level 1 console, 100% warps.
100% warps. I'm going to put it in B tier,
Wow.
mainly because it's just like a couple of minor differences between that and
Yeah.
the main one, so it's kind of a little bit pointless. But
This is level 1 warpless.
level one, level one warpless. I'm going to put that in the B tier as well.
Fair enough. And we've
And then
got
level one warps is S tier.
one warps S tier. Wow, that's a big difference there.
Yeah, it is. Just quite a big difference between those categories.
All right, we've got a bunch of Street Fighter 2 Turbo Hyper Fighting SNES.
So this is actually my casual speedrun. So it's the only speedrun that I don't practice. I made a rule that I cannot practice this game. So
Okay.
it's when I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do a speedrun, I fire this game up and I play it. And I get better by just playing the game. Like it's kinda like my chill. So that's what these runs are.
Do they have different categories?
Oh
Or can we...
yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they're completely different depending on the fighter.
Unfortunately, I can't read which fighter is which on these images, so you'll just have to tell us.
Okay,
right.
so I guess
Let's
we'll
call
go
this
with
so Blanca.
okay, Blanca is gonna be like a B tier.
Okay. Chun-Li.
Chun-Li is gonna be B tier.
E Honda.
E Honda is D tier.
Oh, what's wrong with that
I hate E Honda.
one?
Gross.
Okay, one of them is extra speed.
Extra speed, probably C tier.
Okay.
Basically, instead of doing 4 stars, you do 10. It's quite funny, but I would never run it seriously.
Ken.
Ken is A tier.
Hell yeah. Ryu.
Ryu is S tier.
Wow.
Or Ryu.
And Sagat.
Sagat is D tier.
Yeah, fuck you, Sagat.
I hate that character. He's got such janky jump mechanics.
Only up.
Only
I
up
didn't know
is
you
going
speedran
in.
this.
Only up is A tier for sure.
Wow.
Absolutely incredible game. Well, actually, talking about speedrun goals, I'm currently doing a game that just came out called Chained Together.
Oh yeah, I've seen some people run that.
It's basically only up, but it's co-op, and you're actually chained to your co-op partner.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult. I've actually started learning it with Poyo just in the last week or so, and it just came out. So yeah, those games are fantastic. They're so underrated. If you've never played Only Up, like $2 on Steam, it's a fantastic game. And this Chained Together is more of the same.
It looks
It's
miserable to me, but I'm glad you enjoy it.
extremely hard,
Yeah.
extremely punishing.
Okay, vanilla preset.
That's S tier.
11 exit glitchless.
11 nice glitchless. I'm gonna put that in A tier.
Seems fair. This is GBA true any percent link to the past.
C tier.
Yeah. Ultraman Towards the Future.
It's got world record in that.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna put a B tier because I had a lot of fun playing it and optimizing it, and it gave me a lot of fun for 2 or 3 months. So it's worth it on there.
That's cool. Lion King, I assume D tier. This game is trash.
Lion King is gonna be B tier
All right.
just
All right.
because of my experience with it and how I learned the game. And one of the best marathon runs that I ever calmed was Fricker's run of the Lion King when he used to have the world record for that game. And it is the funniest comms you'll ever see. It's a hilarious run. Yeah.
All right. Super Mario Kart Mushroom Cup two player.
That's
Two.
gonna be C tier.
Really?
Yeah, I Super Mario is an IL game, so I just did
Okay.
these for
Yeah.
the sake of it. So they're
The
both
what about the other one? Flower Cup.
these
Also
yeah,
C.
they're both C tier. Like IL's where it's at in that game.
All right, and then we've got two Super Soccer, 10 gold and 50 gold. These are new world records for you, right?
I don't know. Somebody took my world record from me just recently. I'm trying to
Oh,
get it back. But
rude.
50 goals I'm gonna put as C tier,
Okay, and 10 goals.
and 10 goals are gonna be B tier.
I like the shorter runs, except for Link to the Past, interestingly.
Yeah, it's kind of like more like what the game has to offer in terms of like what you're looking for. So like Zelda is a 2D game on the Super Nintendo. It's kind of a there's not really many games that are truly like A Link to the Past. Just like there's not many games that are like Super Mario 64, for example. And Minecraft is another kind of one-off game. Like these are all like and they're all good for different reasons, like Star Fox is really interesting because it's a game that is 100% about lag reduction. That's all the game is. It's about trying to make the game run at 20 FPS when sometimes it runs at 5, you know?
Yeah.
And
That
that's
game is
actually
almost entirely an auto scroller, right? Except for boss fights.
it is, but it's kind of funny because everyone always says, "How do you speedrun an auto scroller?" And I asked the same thing. So the funniest way to do that is to say, okay, you fire up this auto scroller and see what you get from the start to the boss. Then I'll run it and I'll beat you by 25 seconds. And you go,
Right,
how the hell
right.
did you do that? That was my experience because I had that kind of a little bit of a cocky. Well, so then Jake made me run it. He gave me 3 attempts to the boss, and then he ran it and he saved like 20 odd seconds on the auto score. And I'm like, how? And then he starts going into the intricates of lag reduction, and like it's mind blowing how much stuff is going on that you don't realize is for a reason. Like every shot fired, every time you turn, every time you're going a certain direction, it's all every single movement in that game is for a reason that you would not expect it to be. And it kind of opened up my eyes to lag reduction in a big, big way playing that game. So that was really cool for that aspect of it. Street Fighter is obviously a fighting game. There's one on there. Minecraft is Minecraft, and then like I said, 3D platformer Mario, and then Zelda is obviously Zelda. So that's kind of why I have them as S tiers. It's more for like the variety of the best games that I've ran, so to speak.
Makes sense. That's cool. All right, well, thanks so much for coming on. Got any last words? Everybody should follow Bydey. I guess join his Discord server. I'll put some links up in the description.
Basically, I really love the podcast. I actually binged it at work. The other day I listened to all 3 podcasts when I was doing a big job. So it's fantastic. I always love these, like just listening to people and just, we've had 3 people that are on that are very different people. Like we had, like a Chicks is big into the glitches, and Twin is so chill and the smooth talking Twin, and then you've got Tam, who's very anti-reset, or he's anti-reset mentality. So it's fun to have me on, who's is the exact opposite,
Yeah,
to give that kind of point of view. So yeah, just keep doing more of the same. It's fantastic, and again, thanks for having me. And yeah, like I said, check out the server. You're more than welcome, and yeah, keep on playing the game.